Brought to you this morning by Missouri Governor Mike Parson, who's joining us here in the studio. We asked him what his choice was for bump music, so we deviated a little bit and brought you some country.
You request country, we bring you country.
You guys doing a good job this morning. I can tell you that already. Where do we start today?
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Didn't I see that the other day on Facebook?
Monday was my birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Fantastic. Good to have you on the show.
Good to be here this morning.
Absolutely. What brings you to St. Louis today?
Yeah, got a couple of business stops today. We're going to be out to Cortex, to Microsoft, the new expansion out there, to be talking about workforce development out there today, kind of going along with a special session that we had here a couple weeks ago, and kind of moving forward on that. So it's pretty good to put all that together and really see things happening in the state of Missouri.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
we'll
everybody's focused on bringing more jobs, more business to Missouri.
Right.
Everybody's got a different idea on how to do that. So the voters have soundly rejected right to work, but when I talk to Senator Bob Onder and others, they still firmly believe that's one of the answers to Missouri's problem. So assuming we're not going to revisit right to work this year in the legislature, what else do you have to do to get business in here?
Yeah, I think, one, you got to have a workforce environment for them. In other words, and I think that's one of the things we're just really going to focus on in the administration is trying to make sure that those middle school, those high school kids are starting to get prepared for the workforce and kind of rethink the way we do education to make sure that we start teaching these young men and women about the workforce. Not so much about just basic skills where you just go to a university maybe, but we got to really prepare them to where what is the workforce demands they're going to be when they get out of high school. And does that mean a tech school? Does that mean a training school of some sort, a skilled, or does it mean a four-year university? But we got to put more people ready to go into the workforce, and we're not doing a good job of that right now.
I've got people who advertise on this show who are small business owners who've told me their biggest challenge, one of them in the HVAC industry, is finding people, keeping people, because once he gets them and gets them trained for a couple years, bigger companies snatch them up, and there aren't enough people in the pipeline who are getting that kind of training.
And Mark, if you travel all over the state of Missouri, no matter where you're at, that problem's there. Retaining good employees, but keeping them. I mean, the work pool out there is not that huge, so we got to figure out how do we fill that with more qualified people to go to work. So there is more opportunity for people to stay in those jobs. But right now, the demand out there is so huge because we don't have that background of workers coming on, and people are starting to really realize that. And there's companies in the state that 300-400 employees down, all the way to 1,000 that I know of. You know, that's a real problem, and it's a real opportunity too. But that's why we got to do a better job in workforce development and realize, there's going to be a lot of people in the state of Missouri, for example, probably 60 to 70% of the people in this state will not have four-year degrees or do not have four-year degrees. And we spend a majority of the money in K through 12 or higher ed.
Right.
We got to figure out what do we do for that 60 to 70% to prepare them for a skilled workforce through tech schools and training schools, and that's an opportunity.
Well, Governor, what do you do with the education reform to stop this problem we have where every year the education costs at the University of Missouri and Southeast and Truman, and they go up 2, 3, 4, 5%, and they're always coming back to the legislature looking for more money. I don't know what we do to control those costs, but it's out of control.
Well, and I think that's where you got to reform it, and I think that's one of the things we're going to look at. If they're going to come and ask for more money, the first thing we're going to ask them from the governor's office is, okay, what are you doing to help the workforce out here? What are you doing differently to have a different result? Until you can show me that, I'm not interested in giving more money until we can really focus on the issue of making people sure they're certified and qualified to go to work.
Right. So you had your veto session. I think your vetoes held up, didn't they? The Senate didn't overturn you.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, we were happy with that. We were pleased with that. We felt like those vetoes were vetoes that needed to take place, and then to get them right, to fix them, and to get them out there. And then both of them passed, and we kept the budget intact. What the vetoes were, so that was important to us.
Well, what's the biggest difference you see now between your leadership style and that of Governor Greitens? There was a lot of headbutting going on down in Jeff City. A lot of people that listen to this show were unhappy with how that special legislative committee investigated that whole thing, and then ultimately he resigned and you became governor. What's the difference now? Is it that you worked with a lot of these folks for years in the legislature?
I think it's a matter of just having relationships over years and having the experience. I mean, however you cut that pays off sometimes in your career. And regardless of what's your political career, your personal career, or life in general, I've had those relationships over years. And it's important to me to focus on really what is the best thing for the state of Missouri. And one of the things that's great for me, I'm at the point in my career where I don't have to worry about another election. I don't have to worry about another political arena. For as far as I'm concerned, I'm at the top of the ladder being governor of the state of Missouri. So I can really focus on just really strictly doing what I think is best for Missouri and the people of this state and for the next generations, because most of us have had the opportunity truly to live the American dream to some sort.
Right.
But it's important to me to make sure we preserve that for us that are here now in those decision processes, to pass that on to these young men and young women that are coming up.
So before I run out of time here, a couple key questions I want to get to. I had somebody approach me this week who wants to come on and promote this gas tax that's going to be on the ballot in November. What's your position on that? Do you think it's necessary or not?
I do, Mark, and I've never supported a gas tax in my entire career. I've never supported a gas tax, period. But I do believe it's the fairest thing to do. I think the Constitution of Missouri lays that out. If we're going to do it, this is the way we do it, through the gas tax. The last time we've done that was under Governor then John Ashcroft, one of the most conservative governors we ever had, 22 years ago. I don't think we can really just keep pushing this issue down the road and think it's going to get better, because it's not. And if we don't do something with infrastructure in the state, and when I talk about infrastructure, it's not all about roads and bridges. It's about internet. It's about rivers. It's about airports. It's about infrastructure. It's about water. There's a lot of things in this state we've got so far behind on. And we've got to get caught up with that and to move forward. So it's important. I'm going to support it. I want to make sure the people out there understand all the issues involved in this and to make a decision when they go to the poll. Do they support it or do they not?
So it would, just for people who aren't aware of it, it would increase the gas tax a couple of cents a year for the next few years, and for a total of 10 cents.
10 cents. It would do 2.5 cents for 4 years. The average person out here, I would say, would be paying about $1.65 a month for the increase.
More
is what it would be.
Which is palatable when gas is $2.35 a gallon, but if it gets back up above $3 a gallon, that's when people are going to come back to you and say, why did you support this?
Yeah, it's a tough arena, and who knows what that's going to be in the future. But I think really it's the right thing to do at the right time right now for Missouri. I believe it'll help us, and I believe it's a fix for long term. I don't believe this is something that's just going to be a patch for 5 or 10 years. I think if we really do this and we really be conservative with the money and do our part as government to make sure we get it where it needs to go, I think it's a huge opportunity for Missouri.
So the president's coming to town this week, I understand, down in Springfield.
Yeah, he'll be in Southwest Missouri. We're excited about that. That's about his 5th or 6th time coming to Missouri. I don't know when the last time a president of the United States come here as many times as he has, so we're excited about that. He's coming back again. It's just a great opportunity. Anytime the president of the United States in Missouri is a good thing.
Because he wants to be Claire McCaskill, who's got a TV ad running over your head right now. I assume you're out there trying to help Josh Hawley and get us another Republican in that Senate seat.
I believe Josh Hawley will be the next United States Senator for the state of Missouri. I truly do, and I'm going to work to make sure that happens and to make sure we move forward what I believe with basic fundamentals of conservative values. And I think for years, when Claire was up there, there's no secret when Obama was there, she voted with him all the time. And there was nothing that administration did that was very good for the state of Missouri when he was there. And to just fall in line when, you should be representing Missourians. It's one of the things that always aggravates me about people when they go to Washington. They forget about their home roots when they're up there, except election time. And that's what I think you see out of her right now.
Well, she voted against the tax cuts and, right down the line.
Right. You could go to the waterways of the United States, for rural Missouri. I mean, there's not a positive thing in there, an Obamacare, and that was a disaster. And we're left holding the bag now for the things that she done.
Governor Parson, the thing that strikes me is you just pointed out that you have reached your career goal here. You're the governor of the state. You don't have higher aspirations than that. I'm picking up on that. Do you ever sit back when you're on your farm and just kind of wipe your brow and say, man, I'm glad I'm not in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah.
No matter whether I'm on the farm or not. You know what? I'm thankful people are up there, but it's just not for me. I mean, I love this state of Missouri. I love the people of the state of Missouri. And being the governor of the state is the highest honor I could possibly receive. Between that and my military career, those are two highlights for me, and I just get to be the position I'm in.
Well, good. Well, Governor Parsons, pleasure to have you in the studio. Thanks for stopping by.
Good to be here, Mark.
Great to see you. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate that. 314-241-9797. We'll get to more of your phone calls coming up. You're listening.